All right, the recording is started. Good morning, everyone. I would like to call to order the special meeting of the MARB, Municipal Accountability Review Board. Today is January 27th, and our time is 11:37. I'm Kimberly Kennison. I'm representing Secretary McCaw, and with me today is Christine Shaw, who is representing Treasurer Wooden. We have a small agenda this morning, really to push forward the, so I have no opening comments. Christine, do you have any opening comments?
I do not. Thank you, Ms. Kennison. Good afternoon now.
Good afternoon. So the first item on the agenda today is to discuss the Hartford, to review and discuss the take possible action on a labor contract for the city of Hartford. The federal Federation of School and Special Police Officers is what's noted on the agenda. Prior to this meeting, the Hartford subcommittee of the MARB met and made approval for motion to come to this full board meeting. The approval of the tentative agreement for the Federation of the School Special Officers. This contract covers approximately 100 Board of Ed employees. The contract expired on June 30th of 2017. The tentative agreement for a successor contract with a term of July 1st, 2017 through June 30th of 2024 was signed, and it was approved by both the union and the Board of Education. Today, the MARB has the authority to either approve, reject, or take no action on the agreement. If the MARB chooses to, if the charge, oh, can I would have finished. Sorry, Sal.
Sorry.
Okay. If the MARB chooses to take action, it has until February the 3rd to do so. Since the deadline for the MARB to take action falls before our next MARB meeting, today is the reason why we're having this special meeting of the full MARB to be able to discuss this and take action if so chooses. The city has provided this tentative agreement and supporting documentation. In addition, some supplementary information that was requested from the committee has also been distributed, and that occurred yesterday. The superintendent and the district chief could provide an overview, or their legal counsel. I see Melinda Kaufman is with us today, and she provided an overview at the subcommittee. Because we have other new members here today, I would then suggest that we just get a quick overview from Melinda, please, or the city Board of Ed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Kennison. Very briefly, because I know a lot of you heard this already, but let me walk through this contract. This is a unit that is made up of our school security officers. There are approximately 100 of them. The current contract expired on June 30th, 2017, so this has been a long time coming. We did reach this agreement via mediation with the assistance of OPM and specifically Tom Austin, who was very helpful in getting the parties to reach resolution. At the end of the day, we really focused on getting this done and focusing on wages and insurance more than anything else. So let me walk you through this quickly. This is a unit that had already taken one hard zero in 2016, 2017, so that was no GWI, no step. This is a 7-year contract that we've entered into the first 4 years, which brings us up to through 2021. The unit has again agreed to hard zeros, no GWI, no step. For the current school year, we are looking at doing a bit of a reorganization of the steps. We had a situation because they did take 5 years of zeros where their salary scale was very much out of whack, for lack of a better legal term, with other units in the area. And we were at a point where the employees were really not being hired. We had not hired anybody at the first step because it was simply too low. So we did eliminate that first step and create a new step at the top with the same, there's about 8% give or take between all the steps. Some are slightly higher, some are slightly smaller. So we did the 8% for the new top step. And all employees for this year will be moving one step without a GWI. For 22-23, there is a 2% GWI and no step. And 23-24, there is a 2% GWI, again, with no step. And you do have documentation of the cost outs of that, which I won't go over unless there are questions. The average increase, therefore, over 7 years for the contract is about 1.78% per year, which is much lower than the average that we've seen for MIRA contracts in Connecticut over those years, which are consistently over 2%. For this year, obviously, there will be no changes to health insurance because it would be very difficult to change that mid-year. This is our only unit in Hartford that still was solely having a PPO health insurance plan. They did not even have an option for a high deductible. It will become mandatory for this unit to move to a high deductible health plan with a health savings account as of July 1st, 2022. Very briefly, we've also changed how we're going to determine what the premium cost shares are. In the previous contracts for many years, we've used the fully insured equivalent rate, and what we've learned, because we are self-insured, that was really coming up with a cost that was much higher than what the actual claims are. So in order to try and address that and bring down the cost shares for the membership, we have changed it to be now the cost shares will be based on the Anthem allocation rate plus not more than 4%. And the reason we talk about not more than 4% is that's a good estimate of the buffer we need since we are self-insured. But if there is a year when we don't need that buffer, it gives the Hartford Board of Education the ability, if they so choose, to drop that for a year and pass on those savings to the membership. We are doing the same type of HSA that all the other memberships in the Hartford Board of Education have, with a $2,000 or $4,000 deductible depending whether it's individual or family. Cost shares for July 1st, 2022 are 12%, going up to 12.5% the next year. One thing that we are doing for this group is for the first year, we will be funding 75% of that deductible because we know the first year getting on an HSA can be difficult if there is some sort of catastrophic medical issue that happens before the employee has fully funded their HSA contributions for the year, and we are front loading that. So would be putting half of the 75% into the HSA right at the beginning of the school year, again, to help with that transition. And that is the insurance and the cost savings. There are some other minor changes to this contract. We have removed language allowing laid off employees and their dependents and survivors to continue to access group rate health insurance. Obviously, these employees remain eligible for COBRA. And then just some technical things, changing the language on union dues to meet the Janus decision requirements, updating some language in personal leave to be more inclusive and comply with federal and state anti-discrimination laws, and some name changes. So with that, that is a very brief overview. We would open this up to questions from the board members.
Thank you, Belinda, for your overview. Any questions from the board? I have none.
I'm curious. I'm sorry. Thank you, Attorney Kaufman. And just curious if you can shed any light on why it took 5 years to get a new agreement resolved.
I there was a lot of back and forth with the union. You may remember that this was a contract that came before this board when this board first started and was originally rejected. And we went back to the table and started negotiations. And then at some point COVID hit and we put things on pause and then came back to the table, and we had numerous meetings trying to work this out and ultimately determined that we did need the assistance of mediation in order to get us where we are today. So that's a little bit of an overview.
Thank you.
What were the wage increases and or lack
Who-
of?
who is speaking? Pat?
Pat Egan. Yeah.
Pat,
So
all right,
what are the-
I don't even have you attending, Pat. Thank you for letting me know that you're in attendance.
I'm undercover today, Ken. What were the wage increases in the prior agreement, and any step movement or frozen steps in the agreement prior to 17?
So the 16-17 agreement was 0% GWI, no step. I'm going off memory here. Let me see if I can actually pull it up rather than going off memory for the old contract that ended during the 15-16 school year. Give me a minute.
Any other questions that we could come back to the answer in that question? Well, Melinda looks for that.
Yeah, it's going to take me about another 2 seconds. I just have to find the right page.
Understand.
So it looks like the last agreement before that 1-year extension was 2012 through 2015. There were increments in all years, and I am guessing here, but it looks like it was 2%, give or take, each year of GWIs. I don't want to give you that definitively because it's not spelled out, so I'm trying to do math as I'm looking at the salary ranges on the GWI.
That's helpful, Melinda. Thank you.
And so that was, so you said 16, the 15, 16, and 16, 17 were zeros and no steps, and prior to that it was twos? Was that
No, it looks like it was 2 with step for 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16. They did an extension 16, 17 that was 0 GWI, 0 step.
And then they went into zeros from 17 to 22.
Correct. So essentially they're accepting 5 years of zeros.
Has any other bar unit had 5 years of zeros with no step movements? And also,
Keep in mind that at that time is when Hartford was having some struggles.
The blue
right,
collar
and
wall to wall
they're-
unit also.
and they've been well financed by many things since. So we have 5 years of zeros for these employees. Are, you know, what's the average salary for this bargaining unit?
The salary ranges are at the back of the contract, or the new ones would be. So for this current year, it will be, and I'm just doing the employees that are the 183-day employees because we do have a few that are 202 days, but it would range if you approve this contract from 31,392 per year to 39,747.
And that's what, at the end of this agreement, the 39?
That is steps. I'm giving you the lowest, which is step 1, to the highest, that's step 4, and that would just be this year.
Right. That
Okay.
doesn't take you out to the out years.
Okay.
So next year that range is 32,194 to 47,63, and then the next year again is 2% higher. So the top of that would be 41,578. And that does include, we did add an extra day for starting next year as well. So that was added in as a per diem, or the value of it was added in as a per diem.
So the high end is the 41,578?
Correct.
For the 184 days. If they had 202 days,
Yeah,
it's a
I
40.
got it,
Okay.
I got it.
All right.
Yeah, and we
Um,
do have several employees that have a differential that makes them slightly higher due to them having certain certifications.
Okay, and as far as the HSA funding, after year one, you funded 75%. You're doing that half July 1st, what, half January 1st?
Correct.
No.
It would drop to 50%, half July 1, half January 1.
Okay, so then after this year, it'll be a 50% funding?
After next year. So next year is 75, the year
Yeah.
after is 50.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say, you know, I understand certainly the financial issues that Hartford's face. You know, I think we gotta kind of take a big look at everything. And I think having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of zeros, 5 years of, actually, I'm sorry, 5, 6, 7 years of zeros, and no step increases. That's a whole lot for these folks, especially when your high-end earners are in the low 40s. What have the teacher administrators settle for? What other bargaining units of the Board of Ed? What have they gotten wage increases from 2016 to 2021?
There are various units that have taken zeros. I apologize. That is not something that I have amassed that I can speak off the top of my head. I do want to correct something. It is 5 years of zeros, not 7, that have been taken by this unit.
Oh, I thought you said that there was a 2-year extension prior to this contract, that there was 0 wages and
No.
No,
stepping.
there was a 1-year extension, 16 to 17, and then the 4 years here, so it's 5 years total. And this is a contract with only 4 steps, and there's a large, it's like an 8 to 10% jump every time there's a step, depending on the level, which frankly is one of the reasons that we created the new top step, which was 8% higher, which essentially gave, for this year, all of the employees somewhere between an 8 and 10% increase, depending on where they are.
To realign it.
Correct.
So everybody moved up 1 step?
Yes.
For assuming you approve this, everyone will move up 1 step retroactive to July 1 of the beginning of the school year, with the creation of that new step. So everybody at the top will have a jump as well.
For most of the reasons Mr. Egan gave, that's why I made a motion to accept the contract.
Thank you. Since I do have a motion on the
Yeah.
table, Sal, I would like to accept your motion. Thank you, Sal. Can I get a second?
Second, Matthew.
Thank you, Matt. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say for the record, I think it's the kind of stifling of the wage movement is a little concerning, just because it's so low. I understand the financial times we're in, but you know, I'd like to know what other bargaining units within the district took if they had the 5 years of zeros and the no step increases, and they're generally higher paid bargaining units. Granted, they may be different skill sets, but
Yes, Mr. Egan, this is Sal Luciano. The Hartford Blue Collar Unit also took probably 9 years of zeros, not consecutively, but over the last like 14 years. So yes.
well, okay. Thanks, Sal.
Thank you, Sal. Any other discussion?
Just as a general matter, this is not the first time that we've been presented with a contract that has expired years before it's presented to the MARB, and I understand the changing financial situation that has been described that the city has faced, but curious to know if there are other labor agreements that are similarly, beyond the expiration of the contract and may be kind of mired in these kinds of negotiations?
Yeah, there are numerous ones that we are currently actively in negotiations with and hoping to bring those before you. We did have a backlog and we are working through those. So we are in active negotiations with numerous other units that do have expired contracts.
That is good to know.
And could you just estimate the range of the period of time since expiration? Are any as drawn out as this 5 years, or?
This is our most protracted one.
Thank you, Phil.
This is Sal Luciano. A big part of that was the long research regarding the attempt to try to get into the partnership plan, if you recall.
Yes.
They really wanted like real health insurance, and so they really tried. That's the union tried to get into the partnership plan. That's one of the reasons why this one hung out so long, and in fact has been some of the reasons why others have hung out so long.
Okay.
Thank you, Sal. Helpful.
Definitely. Any other discussion? All right. Julian, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mr. Biller,
Yes.
Mr. Luciano,
Aye.
Mr. Egan,
Yes.
Mr. Brockman,
Aye.
Ms. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Kennison.
Yes.
Are there any other board members on the call that I did not mention? Sounds like that was everybody.
Thank you. This motion carries and has been approved. One commentary that I made at the subcommittee that I just want to bring forward to this meeting is the need is this is a high deductible plan in health insurance, and you will have oh, Matt, I see your hand up, but you will also be providing counseling on this movement to this new plan, so that this way those members can get educated on what they're going into with a high deductible plan.
Yes,
That's
that is
correct.
correct.
Thank
Yes.
you. I wanted that for the record on this board meeting.
In our last
Matt?
meeting, when we, I'm sorry,
Go ahead. Yep, you may speak.
when we ratified our during our negotiation on the December 18th, we did push that we are going to have someone come in and give them a lesson on on the HSA. Yes, we did push that.
Very good. You are the union rep. I apologize that I don't know you.
Yeah, Davey Velez. I'm sorry, Davey
Thank
Velez.
you, Davey.
Rep. Yeah.
No, I just
I'm
wanted to
sorry.
make sure that for the record that we stated who you were. Thank you, Davey. I appreciate
and,
you
and
attending.
thank you for giving us time. Thank you.
Just to
Sorry,
be clear,
just to
Mr.
clarify.
Velez is the president of the union.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
The union rep. My name is Liz Guerra. Yeah, and I don't know if you saw, but
Thank
when
you,
you
Liz.
all voted, yes, our folks are just really excited. It's, as many members have already stated here, it's been a long time, and we've worked for many years with the board. This pandemic has definitely put a monkey wrench in I'm sure in everyone's lives.
Yes.
But even through Zoom negotiations, in-person negotiations, mediation, we're just really happy, and I know our folks are just. This is really good news that we can now give to our membership. They voted unanimously for this, and so they're just excited to just get this moving. So thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for letting our members know that, and we appreciate that you're happy with this agreement, and you did get to the conclusion that you came to, and we can move forward. Matt, I see your hand up, and thank you for being here to present today on behalf of your members.
Yep, my question is sort of unrelated to the contract. It's like a new business-esque question, so you could tell me
Okay.
when to go. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
You're
you.
right.
I don't have any other further discussion in this, but if anybody did, I would not want to cut you short.
Kim, this is Mark Waxenberg.
Yes, Mark.
I've been on the call, so mark me down as yes on contract. Please have Julian mark me as
Thank-
yes.
Thank you. For the record, we have.
Matt, you better go ahead.
Thanks, Sal. Just a question for the next full MARB meeting and for the subcommittees, do we have, because I know we review contracts that, for our towns that even if they don't need approval, but they're over the $50,000, does that apply also to the ARPA and ESSER money, or are we just saying that applies to the general fund budget? And I just want to make sure that we're looking at the ARPA and ESSER in advance. I just want to put that on the record in advance of the next meeting, if we can make sure that's part of the discussion. Those contracts.
Oh, for the ones that we saw at the subcommittee when we move forward, is that what you're saying?
Right, exactly. When those things move forward, I just want to make sure that those contracts also come before the MARB for review.
No, I don't think that he was talking about the labor contracts. I think he's referring to
I'm-
non-labor contracts
Correct.
and whether
Yes,
or not.
I'm sorry.
non-labor-
I
Sorry.
misunderstood. Thank you.
Sorry,
Yeah.
non-labor
Yes.
contracts that are maybe paid for through the ARPA or ESSER dollars. I just want to make sure that they're sort of in our scope for review and not, that's all. Not related
Okay.
to Hartford specifically, but all three towns.
If they meet the criteria, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Okay. One other item is that when those next contracts come forward, for Chief Penn, Mr. Waxenberg had some questions where he had requested that he was looking for the turnaround rate and the vacancy rate. I'm not sure if that was just focusing on one contract, which would be the Hartford Federation Teachers, is when that was brought up, or Mark, for clarity, if it was for more than one contract and what that turnover rate and vacancy was. Please have that ready for the meetings.
Yes, we're aware of the request. We prioritize getting the one that was being voted on today done first.
Nope, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't lose sight of it prior. Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Saluciano.
Thank you. Thank you, Sal. A second, please.
Mark.
Second.
Mark, sorry, I heard Mark. Thank you, Mark. All in favor,
Aye.
please say aye.
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 Aye. I'm sure there's no opposed. If there was, speak now. This meeting is adjourned.